Hi, it's Jeff with Cribl. In this video, we're going to walk through an installation of Cribl Stream, Cribl's machine data processing engine. In this exercise, we'll be installing what we call a self-managed version of Stream. Note that Cribl offers a software as a service or SaaS deployment model for all Cribl products. We call it Cribl Cloud, and it's the preferred way of using the software. However, there are some cases where a customer's self-managed deployment may make sense, or you may just want to take a test drive and try it out. This video will show you how to get started. In the Stream distributed model, there are two main components, a leader node and one or more worker nodes. The leader node is responsible for configuration management and monitoring of the software. The workers do the actual data processing, taking data from our sources, processing it, and routing it to one or more destinations. In this example, we'll be installing one leader and one worker node. There are multiple ways to deploy Stream, including using virtual machines, bare metal servers, and containers. Linux is the required operating system for all of these methods. In this case, we're going to use two AWS EC2 virtual machines that are running Amazon Linux, which is based on Fedora and CentOS. Note that you may need to alter some of the commands used, such as those for installing packages and setting the service to auto-start, based on your preferred Linux distribution. Let's begin by installing and configuring the leader. Cribl uses the Git version control system to support keeping track of committed changes to Stream. We'll need to add the Git package to our server using our yum package manager. Next, we need to create a user that Stream will run under. It's best practice to not use the root account. We'll use the username Cribl and add it with an add user command. Cribl offers two types of server downloads, one for 64-bit ARM systems and one for non-ARM systems. It's important to know which one we have to get the right package. Let's verify that by using the uname command. This one should be a non-ARM system. You can pick any location you prefer to install the software. The standard recommendation is to use the opt folder. Let's navigate to it with a change directory command. If our server has internet access, we can get the download command from the Cribl downloads page. We'll scroll down the page and find the command for our processor architecture, in this case, a 64-bit non-ARM system. We'll copy the command to the clipboard. Note that we're not logged in as root, so we'll add sudo to the beginning of the script and also after the pipe before the tar command and run it. This should have extracted the Cribl software to the /opt/Cribl folder. We'll verify that with an ls command. Note that this will be our so-called Cribl home folder, /opt/Cribl. And we're looking good. We need to make sure that the Cribl user is the owner and has the right permissions to our installation location. We'll run a change owner command to do this, giving the Cribl user ownership permissions. Let's confirm the permissions by running a list command and using the L and A switches. We should see the Cribl user as the owner of the Cribl folder. And with everything complete for the install and permissions, let's make sure that Cribl auto starts at boot time by running a boot start command. And finally, let's start the Cribl service so we can get access to our leader. On this server, systemd is managing the service, so we'll issue a start command via systemctl. We've now finished installing Cribl Stream and made sure that it'll start anytime our server boots. Now we can open the UI for Stream. Note that we'll need two ports open into the leader. 9000 is the default port for the UI and worker installation, and 4200 is the port that our workers will use to heartbeat into the leader. I've gone ahead and already configured my AWS security groups to allow this traffic. You may need to do something similar depending on your network setup and restrictions. Let's open our browser window and navigate to our leader on port 9000 over HTTP. We should see a login screen. Use the default username and password of admin and click login. We'll change this credential later. We'll accept the license agreement, enter our email address, and click register. Note that all users are entitled to 1 terabyte of data per day totally free of charge, and no credit card or other information is needed. As mentioned, we'll change the admin password to something a little more complex, and click Change Password. Stream is currently running in single instance mode, which means that the leader and the worker processes are all running on a single server. This may be adequate for some smaller test environments, but most users will require the scalability of distributed mode, and we'll configure that now. On the top menu, navigate to Settings. In the shown menu, click on Distributed Settings on the left-hand side. Change the first Mode drop-down to be the leader option. This will make the server function as only the leader node. Click Save, and then click Yes to the pop-up asking to restart the Cribl server. After a short time, the window will refresh and the mode should now show as leader. Normally, we can now go on to configure our various leader options, like TLS to secure communications, adding other users, and so on. For now, we'll just focus on getting a worker connected. Click Home on the top navigation. You may have noticed the homepage UI has slightly changed. This is because we're now in distributed mode and will now use a more modular configuration. We want to add a worker to Stream, so click Manage in the top section. In Cribl Stream, workers are organized into worker groups. Each worker in our group gets the exact same configuration. When we make updates to things like our data pipelines, the next time each worker checks into the leader, roughly about every 10 seconds, it will download a new configuration bundle with the latest changes. Our free instance includes one worker group called Default. Let's add a worker to it by clicking Manage at the top. In the submenu, click on Workers. As expected, we don't have any yet. To add one, we can click the Add Update Worker node button on the right, select Linux, and then select Add, as this will be a brand new worker. This interface gives us options we can configure on the left-hand side, and the resulting output on the right-hand side is a script we can use on a new instance to get it added easily to our environment. In our case, the defaults are acceptable. The worker node will download the software from the CDN and connect to the leader and complete its configuration. Make sure your worker has internet access and can contact the leader on ports 9000 and 4200. Copy the script to the clipboard and open a terminal window for your worker instance. I already have a VM ready with a fresh Linux install. In the terminal for it, paste the command that we generated. Since I'm not logged in as root, I'll add a sudo command to both the curl and bash commands. The downloaded script takes care of downloading and installing the Cribl software, configuring the user and permissions, and starting the service and setting it to auto start at boot. Let's check the status of the service by issuing a systemctl status command. Everything looks to be in order, and if we return to our UI, we should see the worker show up and report as alive. And that's it. With a simple curl command to the leader, we're able to install a new worker that's ready to process data, or we could scale out additional workers very easily. You could also incorporate these scripts into deployment or automation pipelines. In just a few minutes, we were able to deploy a distributed model of Cribl Stream, Cribl's machine data processing engine. From here, we're ready to start configuring our other components, like our data sources, the destinations we want to send our data to, and the pipelines that will transform our data into any way that we want. If you want to learn more, please take a look at our documentation, or try out some other use cases with our free sandboxes. For questions, pop over and join us at our community at community.cribl.io. Thank you so much for watching.